Good afternoon, Commissioners. If we'll come to order, we will begin the monthly Anderson County Commission Budget Committee for Thursday, February 9, 2023, 4 o'clock p.m. Robbie, if you would, call the roll, please.
Okay, Commissioner Wandell.
Here.
Commissioner Foster.
Here.
Commissioner Vandegrift.
Here.
Commissioner White.
Here.
Commissioner Denenberg.
Here.
Commissioner Beauchamp.
Here.
Commissioner Smallridge.
Here.
And Commissioner Bout.
Here. Let the record reflect, we do have a quorum. All members are present. If y'all would join me in prayer, and then we will ask Commissioner Wandell if he would please to lead us in the pledge. Heavenly Father, we once again come to you to give you honor and praise today and to thank you for all the blessings that you give us. Lord, we know that we're not deserving by our own works, only by your grace, your mercy, your kindness do we accept those blessings today. Please forgive us when we sin, times, God, that we fail you. We know there are many. And Father, as we conduct this meeting, we pray that you would be with each heart, each mind. Give us your wisdom, your discernment, Father, the wisdom of Solomon to do what you would have us to do for your people. All this we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Salute, pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioners. Moving on with the agenda, we will go ahead and have our cash and fund balance report by Director Robbie Holbrook.
Okay, cash and fund balance report. The general fund, the unassigned fund balance, 9.4 million. Total fund balance, 15.9 million. Cash, 17,197,688, which is up from the 15,870,096 last year at this time. We collected January's property taxes, and February should be a really good month too as well. So we finally caught up, Commissioner Wandell. I know we've been looking at this the last couple of months, so, and moved ahead.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to hear that he's right and I was wrong.
I told you.
Not that I was wrong. I'm happy to say that. You were right saying it would come up.
It would. It always does this time of year. So any questions about the fund balance report? Commissioner Smallridge, do you have a question, for me on the fund balance report?
Yeah, that's a question how we compared this year at this time with last year.
Okay, so last year, of course, the cash, as we just spoke about, was 17,197,680. Last year, 15,870. Our unassigned fund balance last year at the end of January was 7.3 million. This year, 9.4 million. So we've increased that 2.1 million. We've held on to that, and also our assigned, right beside it, the assigned funds, 3.7 million this January. Last year, 3.1 million. It's funny, I went back 4 years because Commissioner Smallridge had emailed me and said he was going to ask this question. So 4 years ago, our fund balance was, at this time, was 4.7 million, and cash was 11 million. So we've done quite well in the last 4 years with our fund balance, and the assigned fund balance. The assigned funds were 500,000. They're at 3.7 now. So.
Thank you for researching that a little bit.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Any further questions on the cash and fund balance report? Hearing none, go ahead, Rob.
Okay, also this month, sales tax, we had a really good month. The county as a whole, 4.2 million, up 7% from last December. And Anderson County's portion was up 10%, 536,129. So a good month of December, as it always is, but even better than last year.
Chairman, I got a question.
Commissioner Foster.
On the sales tax, I know we looked from January to December on those numbers, but how are we tracking with this fiscal year ahead of budget? I know at one time it leveled out, but we hadn't really increased it, but
Right.
it seemed like this
So
last
this
6 months
year,
been pretty good.
if I think I'm answering your question correctly, for general fund sales tax, we budgeted 1.7 million. Our projection is going to be, it's at right now at 1.9 million, so we're still going to be like $150,000 to $200,000 over budget. So.
Any more questions about the sales tax report? Hearing none, moving on to the agenda. Go ahead, Rob.
Okay. Really quickly, in the ARP projects.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just to go over that, there was only one change from last month. We did add the repair chimes, $18,635, and also we had one expense, for $7,136.84 for the Highland Communications for the survey, the property survey for that. We still haven't added that money back to what we still have available, because we probably will have one more expense in that code before we can move that money. And but that was all, the only change.
Any question? Yes, Commissioner Denneber.
Robbie, where are you anticipating additional monies to come from
For
this report?
Well, I mean, at the top, if you see the remaining allocation of the 14 million that we received, we still have 3.5 million available in revenue loss and 2.1 in other eligibilities for a total of 5.6 million that we haven't spent we haven't committed yet for
Okay.
projects or anything.
All right, thank you.
Chairman.
Commissioner Foster.
So that's my question is, I know we've got a lot of money still not committed. In the previous commission, I know they had met and had some workshops. Going forward, is that something else we need to do, or does this committee, as the budget committee, need to run through here? Obviously, there's a timetable on this money,
Right.
but, if there's capital projects coming up, I mean, I just think that we need to, and I know y'all been working on some of that, but
What's the date? So we have to have it committed by December 31st, 2024, and spent by 2026. So yes, I mean, we can have another workshop. We haven't, I mean, we still have some projects on the initial list that we haven't committed any funds to. We can bring that list back if this body would like.
that's my only concern. I mean, it's still a year and a half away, but
Right.
I don't want to get to the end and go, okay, well, we haven't committed this money, or we've held off projects, or we're coming to budget and we're asking stuff out of fund balance that we could have paid with ARPA funds that,
Exactly.
this money we need to spend that's there. And so I don't know if it's how we,
Well,
I don't know if that's a full commission question that we need to take to full commission.
Right.
I know a lot of it has run through budget committee.
Well, it gets a little trickier with the other eligibilities, the 2.1 million, because there's a lot more restrictions on that. So we kind of have to be careful what we commit to that. But the revenue loss can be spent on anything. So, yeah, I mean, and that's a good question. And we've talked about that in our office some about, okay, we need to make some more commitments or figure out where we're going to spend the rest of this money. And Randy does a lot of the ARP, so he.
John is actually taking over, but when we did have the workshops, we've come out and actually took to the workshops a list of potential projects, and those are ones we, if somebody had mentioned in the past, this would be a good use, it made it on the list. So we can bring that list back to this group just to refresh that in everyone's mind if we want to. But that's where the majority of the projects that are on here actually started on that brainstormed list, more or less. So.
Yeah, I'd like to see the list. I know that was before most of the ones of us are on here, but just even things have changed and if there's something, and I don't know if we're asking department heads and asking departments, hey, what are some capital, I know as we prepare the budget, we're making a capital list, but, I'd much rather spend the ARPA funds where we can than out of our fund balance, and that way, if we have an emergency, we still have our fund balance down the road when this ARPA fund runs out. And I've got one other question, Chairman, about somebody asked me about the senior center kitchen improvements, how that's going. I see where we spent $2,000 off this report out of the $115,000. I just didn't know there was an update on that.
I'm sure the mayor can give an update.
Senior center?
Yes.
Catherine, I can't remember what the date is, but they have, purchasing has received the plans, and the city of Clinton is reviewing all of the plans for any kind of issues, and I can't remember, Catherine, what the date was that you all were emailing back and forth with the architects about going to bid, like.
I think we're gonna have to bid like February 20th or 22nd, and then the bid opening a month after.
Okay.
So February 22nd.
For the pre-bid.
For the pre-bid.
And
Absolutely.
Commissioner Smarge?
Yeah, of the remaining balance in our American Rescue Plan funds, what proportion is restricted for something, or what proportion is unrestricted, where we can spend on anything we want?
Revenue loss is $3,519,078. That can pretty much be spent on anything that, there's a lot less restrictions on that. And the other is $2,131,278. That has,
And that portion is specifically restricted for certain categories?
yes, yes.
Any further questions on the, yes, sir, Commissioner Wando?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Robbie, is the money still coming in on the other, was it 4 or 5 million?
It's coming, it's in.
Is it in here already, or?
It is in the bank. If you look at the Fund 121 on the cash and fund balance report, we have $12,481,210 in the bank.
Okay, so,
We've received all of our whole allocation for.
Are you referring to the TDEC?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, sorry.
We've not been awarded the grant yet, we're still,
And that's gonna be used for water, sewer, is that right?
and we gave the cities a portion of that also. I think we did a resolution 2 months ago.
That's not included in this information, correct? That'll be something separate.
this is the federal allocation, this federal grant money to the county.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, go ahead and move on, Robbie.
Okay, from the consent agenda, there's 1 through 9. We could take as a group, or I can answer any questions, or I could pull any out that you would like.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am. We need
Just-
a, well,
Just a generalization. Is there not a limit on how much money within this group that can be written out?
there isn't, it's more of the code, the object code. It can't be a payroll code, and if it's like crossing distribution codes like 54-100 to 54-500 or something like that.
Okay.
But there's not a limit as far as the money value, no.
All right, thank you.
Do we have a motion? Commissioner Denenberg moves to approve items 1 through 9. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Foster. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay. And 10 through 15 are from the school department. 10 and 11 are from Fund 141 for, one is insurance recovery, $57,622.49, and the other is from unassigned fund balance for $285,000. For other contracted services, which pays for substitute teachers, legal services, they had a change in their legal representation, and the purchase of land at Henley Circle in Oliver Springs for the first one, $285,000.
Motion approved.
Motion by Commissioner Wandell to approve items number 10 through 15, seconded by Commissioner Denenberg. Any discussion?
Chairman, is this,
Commissioner Foster.
is anybody from the schools here? What's the land purchase, or do you know?
I don't know.
Okay.
I told Shane that earlier. We always go over and I said they put the address on here, but I'm not sure what it's for. I will find out before commission.
512 Henley Circle?
There is, if you go behind Norwood Elementary, there is a parcel there, and there's always been a lot of issues with that particular property, and this provides a great opportunity for the school to own it. Commissioner White, you may be familiar with that lot that's there in that, back behind that parking lot. There's like a, kind of a little loop that's back there. This would be connected to the school.
Okay, I wasn't familiar with that address, so
Yep.
I didn't know if it was connected, I mean, I figured it was connected to the school's property, so.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
They've been needing it for years and years and years.
I'm the guy.
Any further discussion? Mayor or Commissioner White, if anyone may know the answer to that, what's going to be the use of the property?
I do not know for certain. I think additional parking, but I cannot swear to it.
A lot of parents pick up their kids in the rear of the building,
Okay,
and they're going to utilize that space for that.
maybe reduce some of the congestion? Okay, all right,
Be a lot less walking for some of the kids.
okay. Mayor, I don't know if you may be able to help answer on item number 11. I'm- Since you added the first one, I know it doesn't necessarily mean you know the answer to the second one, but if I recall correctly, they spent $250,000 on the repairs, and now they're getting the $57,522 back. Is that money going to offset the $250 that we originally gave them, or they have plans for that recovery money? Do you know? I'm assuming you probably wouldn't.
I do not know that one.
Okay.
I'll ask these questions before commission on Monday. And Dr. Parrott, I'm sure will be at commission meeting too, but,
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Shane, too, if we could move number 9.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
Appropriation number 22 up to the
Yes.
next spot.
Commissioners, with that, if there's no objection, can we go ahead and take number 9, be item number 22 in your packet, from Roger Lloyd with Buildings and Grounds? He's got to get to another project involving a county building as soon as he can get there. So that'll be item number 22 in your packet.
And that 22 is requesting out of ARPA funds, $29,270.85 for the project that is the witness rooms, archives, and county clerk project that they're currently working on. There's asbestos in the, I think it's in the archive space right here, that we can remove the asbestos flooring for $29,270.85, or if we don't want to pay that, they can put flooring over it. There's no additional cost to do that, but it's good. I mean, most of the time, if you can remove this kind of stuff, it's better to go ahead and do it. So, but that's what this, and Roger can explain, I'm sure, or the mayor, either one, more about this, if you have any questions.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion. I've already talked to Roger about it.
Commissioner Denenberg moves to approve item number 22. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Smallridge. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried. Now that puts us back on track. Item number 16.
Yes, it's from the Highway Department, 2008-31-38 for a reimbursement from the state for railroad crossing work. We already received the check for the 28-31-38. She's wanting to move this from revenue into fund balance. I say she, Sally, but Gary too.
Move for approval.
Second.
Commissioner Smallridge moves to approve item number 16, seconded by Commissioner Wandell. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, number 17 is from EMS. It's insurance recovery, $16,460.62, into other equipment to purchase of a Lucas CPR compression device.
Motion approved.
Motion by Commissioner Wandell to approve item number 17, seconded by Commissioner Foster. Any discussion?
Just a question. I noticed in the increase, it's asking for 16,460, but then the number below that is 8,988.
They just, it was an accident. When Nathan sent that over, they didn't change that number.
Oh.
It just, and I didn't realize it till Randy told me right before the meeting.
Thanks.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay, number 18 is from EMA. It's increasing a revenue code from the EMPG grant, $5,000, and to civil defense part-time help, $5,000.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Foster to approve item number 18, seconded by Commissioner Wandell. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay, number 19 is from the Conservation Board. An increase in the recreation fees for $16,694 and an increase in salaries and gas for $10,000. Salaries for $2,210 in the park manager and $3,458 in the maintenance personnel. This is a request from the Conservation Board that HR and Finance look at their salaries. I know Kim did a really good job, and I went to that meeting also to presenting a salary survey and what her findings were. And there is enough money in recreation fees to cover this increase. They're also getting ready to double their park spaces this spring because we had a tourism enhancement grant that we increased the park spaces. We doubled the spaces, so we're getting ready to even see more revenue from Anderson County Park. So if you have any questions, Kim is also here and can answer those questions. And Josh is here, who's the chairman of the Conservation Board Committee.
Commissioner Denenberg moves to approve item number 19. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wandell. Any discussion?
Chairman.
Commissioner Foster.
So on the attachment that was sent out outside our packet, it has like a 3-year step. Is that a separate thing they're showing that's what they're trying to get to?
Yes, at first, when Kim presented this to the board, she offered a 3-year plan, but they just chose to go with to go ahead and do it all in 1 year.
Any further discussion? Commissioner Smallridge.
Yeah, Robbie, how would this relate to the average price or salary increases in the budget? I mean, this would be on top of it, or?
It would be for this year, so anything that, if next year in the budget process, if a raise is passed across the board, they would receive a raise on top of this. This is kind of just getting them to where they think they should be this year, which I know a lot of departments feel the same way, but, we're asking, I look at the parks, I mean, it's way out on the other end of the county. We're asking employees to drive out there, 2 employees especially, for $12 an hour to drive. I mean, if we can hire in that area, that's great, but I don't think, we have a hard time filling those positions, the 2 other positions.
That's kind of the way I look at it. These are not high salaries.
No, we're just trying to get them to $15 an hour. So,
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
okay, 20 and 21 are from the mayor. The first one is from the archives, restricted for general government archives, $7,674 to restore 2 books. And the second
Commissioner-
one is for an awning grant, $127,000. If you recall, we did an awning grant already in July for $100,000. They've increased that health department donation or grant to $227,000, so we're adding the additional $127 in there.
Motion approved.
No, I'd already done that, but that was just for the first one.
Oh, sorry.
Are they together or?
Well, this is both from the mayor. We can take them separate if you'd like, or we can take them together. I don't have a
Commissioner
problem.
Denenberg, your motion to approve is for
We'll take them separate. that's
number
fine.
20.
That's correct.
Do we have a second on item number 20? Second by Commissioner Wandell. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried. Item number 21.
Okay, this is from the Health Department and Mayor Frank. It's $127,000 put in the building improvements and it's increasing revenue for the awning grant. Like I said, in July, we did a budget amendment. I think that's 2 more pages past this one, where I show that we did a $100,000 grant in July. We're adding an additional 127,000 to this. For also not only awning outside, but the additional work is to split air conditioning unit and renovation to the medicine room. They're paying for this in this grant also.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Foster moves to approve item number 21. Do we have a second?
Second? Second?
Seconded by Commissioner Smallridge. Any discussion?
And this is 100% state funded. We have no money involved in this at all.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay, 22 we've already done. 23 is from the law director, Jay Yeager. It's from unassigned fund balance, $9,457 to pay for legal services for the recovery lawsuits. I sent you a copy of those invoices separately. I don't like to include them in the packet because it could have some kind of information that could affect the lawsuit. But back, I guess, last fiscal year, Commission made a motion to go after these recovery lawsuits, and these are the bills that we owe the attorney that's representing us these funds.
Move for approval?
Commissioner Smallridge moves to approve item number 23, seconded by Commissioner Denenberg. Any discussion? Commissioner Bochamp.
Robbie,
Yes, ma'am.
how many more of these are we gonna get?
I mean, that's a good question. I'm not sure. I know that attorney has emailed me several times this week asking for information, so I know he's currently working on these lawsuits, so I know we're gonna get more.
So we paid the ones, I think, November, I think
Yes.
it was, the meeting. So we paid that amount. Now they're asking for more,
Yes,
and I think they're gonna continue to ask for more. Not saying that they're not doing the work, but
right.
I'm just wondering how many we're gonna get of this.
I mean-
is it gonna add up to 100,000 by the time we're done?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
There's no way of knowing.
I mean, I think we're at 20,000 just since I've been sitting up here.
Yes. I mean, I can get those totals for you. It might be something that commission, thinking out, that wants to put a limit on how much we spend on this kind of a lawsuit.
Yeah, I'm kinda concerned that within a few months, we're almost at 20,000 right now, and I think in two more months, it's gonna be up to 30,000, and I'm just wondering where the cutoff is of recovery.
Yeah, I don't.
Because if we're paying out more than we're recovering, it makes no sense.
Maybe, I do know that we owe these bills, so it would be a good idea to pass this and we can pay for them. But also Jay would be at commission on Monday, and we could maybe get some answers to those questions, because he deals with the lawyer, with this individual more than I do. You're right.
If we're paying out taxpayer money for this, then I think we should have a lot more answers of where the cutoff is. Where does it stop? Does it stop at 350,000? Does it stop at 50,000? I think we need some answers to this, because I don't want to keep coming to the table every 2 months and approving $10,000 every 2 months. So I think we do need some answers to
Okay.
what is going on.
I'll email him and ask to have those answers too.
Commissioner Smallridge.
Yeah, I agree with the concern expressed, but, these are services already provided. We don't have much
Right.
choice in terms, and it was the way the contract was set up, as I understand it, so,
I agree.
but we could ask some questions about.
Commissioner Foster.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, I think I asked this question, I answered, but we are asking for their fees included in the recovery, correct? Like what we're paying out, we're asking who we're going after to pay these legal fees. Is that your understanding, or is that a Jay question?
That would be a Jay question. Or-
That's a big, if we're getting this money back in the thing, I know we got to spend on the front end, but they're paying our legal fees.
I can look at the,
Commissioner.
I can also look at the contract and have that question hopefully Monday too, but I'll ask Jay that question as well.
Commissioner
I
Smallridge.
think the answer to that question is we hope so.
Right.
Any further discussion?
It's a good positive answer right now.
Hearing none, all in favor say aye. I'm sorry, Mayor Frank, go ahead, ma'am, I'm sorry.
You might, authorize a ceiling to where you can control and at least have an update from the attorneys. That really, from an appropriation standpoint, you should be establishing an estimated if you're going outside of the normal budget process. So you might set a cap, 40,000 or 50,000, and do that via a resolution. And then it puts you in the driver's seat as commissioners because you are appropriating the funds. So that might be something to consider doing. It may even be the proper budgeting thing to do. Because I don't know of any other situation where we authorize the expenditure with an unknown amount. So that is something you may want to look into.
Any further discussion?
Chairman, does that motion need to come from the budget committee, Mayor, or is that just come, that's something we can bring to the commission where, and I think, with the discussion we're having, I think it's important, like, if we're only getting $300,000 back and we spend $100,000 to get $300,000 back, I don't know if that's the best bang for our buck, but if they're paying our legal fees and we're getting updates and we're getting this money back as part of it, then I think it's, that changes the dialogue.
If we would want to go ahead and vote on the current motion, and then certainly if somebody wanted to make a motion to put a cap on it and send it on to full commission, certainly we could do that. If that's a decision somebody wants to make here today. Any further discussion on item number 23? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no.
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 Can we have a hand vote, please? All in favor of approving, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the no votes would be 2. Motion passes 6-2. Now we will entertain a motion to place a cap on the expenditures of these attorneys' fees. Commissioner Denenberg.
Well, we are at what, 300,000 at this point?
Okay,
I know it's 20 right now since I've been sitting here.
I would have to get that for you for Monday. We paid some last fiscal year too, and we paid already one set of bills this fiscal year, and this is the second. So this is the third round. But I can't remember. I apologize. I should have had those totals for this meeting.
Well, can you kind of take a?
I would say
guess?
more than 25,000, 25 to 30.
All right, so if we put a $40,000 limit,
You're looking at 10 more thousand then, if that's what I.
right. Well, maybe we should increase it a little bit. Hello? Yes,
I
ma'am.
was about to talk out of context. Robbie,
Yes.
how long is this gonna go on, in your idea? Are we recovering faster than we anticipated? Or is it a slow process? Like, I work in the legal world, so the longer you take, the more money you get.
Well,
So-
I've honestly never known any legal process to be very
I know,
fast.
that's what I'm saying.
I can't answer that question, honestly.
I mean, do we feel like our return is coming back in a steady form, or do we feel like it's being drawn out and then we're cutting checks and they're getting paid?
Honestly, for the amount of time he's been involved, I don't think it's been that much money yet. But like I said, Jay presented this to commission, not in budget committee.
Why is it
In
in here?
I can't answer that either. But in county commission, and it was approved in county commission, and without a budget or anything. I had no. So every time there's a budget committee made the motion that they wanted to take each individual invoices at one at a time, not, because I even asked, do you want to set aside a certain amount of money? The first time we did it, and let's just do them one at a time, every time we get the bills, the invoices, so. I don't have a lot of information. Like I said, the first time I spoke to it's Miller Legal Partners. He's emailed me a couple of times this week, looking for information. And that's the only contact I've even had with him, other than to get a bill paid.
Chairman.
Commissioner Foster?
I guess my only concern, like, let's say we put a $10,000 cap on it, but, you know, they've already done $10,000 worth of work this month. We're coming back next month. Without really an update, it's hard to put a cap, but you don't want to go, okay, we're going to spend another $100,000. We don't know how far we're into it now.
We kind of need the facts.
Commissioner Anderson, go ahead, sir.
We could maybe, I don't know if it's enough time for the February meeting, maybe we could ask them to come, even have a executive session and put that on so we can advertise that properly, but put that on the next meeting and maybe get an update and a timeline, and then we'd have some more information to set an amount before we just arbitrarily do it.
And that would be wonderful, but we will pay them to do that,
I was
just
gonna
so
say,
everybody
that's gonna
knows.
cost you.
Right, but, yeah.
I'm fine with that. I just want everybody to realize they'll be billing us for that.
But a phone call might do the same.
We could do a Zoom, yeah.
They'll bill us for that too.
Okay.
All right.
I will get all the answers I can from Jay, and I'm sure he'd be happy to provide any information in commission too. But I will get the total we spent so far, counting these invoices, and get as much information as I can for you guys for next meeting, for Monday night. I mean, for commission meeting, which is
Commission
Monday
meeting.
night. It's 2 Mondays. Yeah.
It's on a Tuesday, actually.
Yes. Tuesday this month, because we have another Monday holiday. Sorry.
So does anyone want to make a motion right now?
I'd like us to hear from Jay and
So-
make it, you know, after we have a chance to pull the information together.
So we'll just wait then till the next commission meeting, Jay can set it up. That sound good?
Yes, sir.
All right,
Okay.
moving on.
All right, there's, number 24 is from the Sheriff's Department. It is a $200,000 increase into jail, medical, and dental out of unassigned fund balance. That code started out with $360,000 this year. We now currently have $24,000 available. And we've had three very large bills. The majority has been spent on 3 bills, over $104,000 just on 3 bills alone. So we've had some bad luck in the in the detention facility, but these are things we have to pay when they come
Sick
up.
people
so.
break the law too.
Maybe we need to let them go.
If we could just predict those things. But anyway, that's
But this
the,
isn't for one person.
No.
no,
one bill,
this,
is it?
this hopefully will get us through the rest of the year. I kind of have my doubts, but,
Yeah.
but there's been several years that since I've been doing budget, which 7 years now, that, we've had to increase this code throughout the year. So, this is not abnormal at all.
Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Beauchamp to approve item number 24. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Vandegrift. Any discussion? Commissioner Smarge?
Robbie, what was the total budget that we had for inmate medical?
360,000. And in 6 months, we've ran through, well, 7, 8 months. We're in the 8th month. We have $24,158.47. And we probably have less than that because I ran this February 6th, so 24,000 available still.
That's a
It's a lot.
lot.
Yeah.
Commissioner Foster?
I mean, I know this is hard to budget for because you never know, but you know what we spent last fiscal year? And is it something that going into next budget season, we're gonna really put like $500,000 in medical and, you know, kind of have a
Last year we spent $312,984. Actual in 2021 was $360,000, so in the budget book, when this budget book was created, we weren't completely finished with the fiscal year, so it's probably more than 311 last year, but 360 in 2021, so, yeah.
Commissioners, Lieutenant Zach Allen from the Jail Division is here with a little bit more information, and if y'all need it, may give you a clearer picture of why this is necessary. Go ahead, Lieutenant.
So the 24,000, I actually sat down with Mia yesterday. We paid out 20,000 of that will be coming to you, so, and that's with an outstanding still of 70-something thousand we've already been billed for, not including a heart attack and a baby that we've already had since then. So it's been pretty eventful since January. So to that point though, I will have to give credit to the courts. They do help us get a lot of those out, but you all don't see those numbers because we don't pay those bills. So we do, and then we also go down to the minute on the bills. If they weren't in custody, say at 2:30, we let them go at 2:29, we don't pay for those. So there's a lot of money that we do save. Of course, you all don't see that, but
I will say this too, if it's a state inmate, we can be reimbursed from the state for these medical bills, but we're not getting that lucky this year, so to have any, I don't think.
yeah, I think we've had two, and the two current ones we're dealing with are state inmates, so
So
we'll
we
see
can-
reimbursement on
We'll
those.
get reimbursement for those funds,
Which one are you talking about?
but maybe, I don't know. You said.
Two we have right now, we haven't been billed for, but they're state inmates, so we'll be reimbursed for those coming.
But
And
we'll
then
have to-
only, like he was saying, being unlucky, I can only think of 2 cases since July of last year that were state inmates. They've been all county inmates, which we're responsible for.
But we'll have to pay for those up front and then worry about getting reimbursed for them?
Yes.
Thank you.
What's the timeline on the reimbursement, like on the state inmates?
Honestly, it's a process. It really depends on the hospital and the doctors getting us the bills, but I think we only have 6 months to collect those, that's a guess.
But we do have some difficulty with doctors' offices and hospitals getting us billed invoices quickly. They want to be paid quickly, but we don't always get the invoices.
One
Commissioner
thing-
Smalley.
So the reimbursement goes back to fund balance?
It will go into revenue code, and if we needed to move it, if it happened to come in this year and this code needed more money, we can move it from that revenue code back to this code, so it's a possibility if it were to come in time. One thing too, I'd like to add is the state inmate, our revenue code for that, we budget 1.6 million, and we fell way short of that last year, but it's picked up, we must be getting more state inmates because that code is really doing well and projected to be probably over 1.6 million this year. So, and I know we also improved our jail to a,
Tier 2 accreditation.
Tier 2, so we're getting more money from the state also for state inmates. So that will help also offset some of these expenses.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, 25 is a insurance recovery from vehicle maintenance, $5,439.02. We've already received the check from Tennessee Risk Management as well.
Motion approved.
Commissioner Foster moves to approve item number 25. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Vandergriff. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, and the last one I have from the Sheriff's Department is a transfer for payroll, increasing overtime pay for dispatch $40,000 and using their regular 148 other emergency management dispatchers code to hopefully get us through the year. In talking to, I think they've been 5 employees short this year at times, and they have a minimum requirement for employees that have to work in the dispatch office each at a time. So they've had to work a lot of overtime this year to make up for employment losses. So
Commissioner Vandergriff moves to approve item number 26. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Denenberg. Any discussion? Commissioner Smallridge.
Yeah, how does that work in terms of reimbursement from the cities or municipalities?
Lieutenant Steve Owens.
We actually have 54,000 that's been invoiced to come back in.
Is it a certain percentage? I mean, how does it work in terms of reimbursement?
So correct me if I'm wrong, Robbie, Rocky Top committed to 30,000 per year. EMS, not EMS, 911 board committed to 30,000, and Norris, City of Norris committed to 5,000. And it was prorated when we actually started taking over their dispatch. So that's how we get to 54. So we bill them once a year for the money. That may change next year to billing it per quarter so we get it quicker.
I was going to ask Michael since he's, he'll probably tell us about Rocky Top.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
It's the numbers, but yeah, we just got everything, and I know we were gonna try to bill quarterly, but we got started late with this year, so we're so close in the budget year that I know I'll need the money, but.
Yeah. It's just luck. Nobody's applying for dispatch, so we started out the year 5 short. We hired 4 within the first week of training, 1 quit. And then since then, we've had 2 quit, and I've got 2 brand new ones that don't get to count toward a seat yet, actually through the training, going through the last part of it. And we interviewed all week this week to fill the other 2 spots, so it's just trying to find people to sit in the seats.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Okay, number 27 is from the election office. It's a transfer through payroll and other codes. We're increasing other contracted services, $190, printing, $3,008, part-time help, $2,000, and machine techs, $1,000, taking it from rentals, $3,198, and poll workers, $3,000. We tried to, this came before the committee last month and didn't pass, and Mark has, he's here tonight, or he was here earlier. Oh, yeah, right there. And he agreed to answer any questions that y'all might have for him.
Do we have a motion? Motion made by Commissioner Foster to approve item number 27. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Smallridge. Any discussion? Commissioner Bochamp.
Mark, your part-time help, I think it was November, Robbie, where we just approved part-time help for a transfer.
$6,000.
So what is this for?
This is for future part-time help. We've got again, we have jobs, filings that need to be done.
So this is for office?
Office
for
part-time,
office
yes.
staff? So my only question is, because since I've been sitting up here, I keep seeing these transfers. If you knew that you needed it then, why didn't you just ask for the money back in November and let's just compile it together so we didn't have to keep doing it?
Well, when you budget, again, it's one of those things that it's a guesstimation. You're trying to do as far as, trying to get an accurate number. Again, more hours were required, so we're back here again.
So you actually have this part-time person in the office now, so you have to fund them now?
We use Shauna, Sheila, and Eiley, so that is the
So you
three
got
part-timers.
that you're splitting the money between?
Yes.
And you already ran out of what we gave you in November?
I don't know, Robbie, what do we have left in that code? I don't think we have that much.
$16.
$16?
16, yeah.
And this is gonna cover everybody until July, right?
Well, it's a good start. That's what I put down. Again, that's the amount that if we need more money, we can come back.
How much do you need total to cover till July? That's what I'm trying to figure out here.
I mean, I can't give you that answer. I don't know. I don't know how many, depending on how many hours that we need, that's like saying,
Robbie, how much do you think we're paying 3 people that's already in the office. We're piecemealing it at 2,000 this time. How much do you think needs to be done until?
I think they can get by with 2,000, and the reason I say that is a lot of their money was spent earlier in the year when they were a full-time employee short.
Okay.
Now they've hired a full-time employee, and all 3 of those don't work at the same time.
Right.
And in fact, I'm not sure
Right.
many have been working lately at all, the part-timers. It's just when is needed
Okay.
for that office. But I do think 2,000 would.
We'll cover it until
yes.
the next budget.
And I think on the machine techs, aren't you in the process of looking at new voting machines?
That's
and every
correct,
time
yes. There's some work that needs to be
They have to
done
come
from-
in and look at those too.
Work
Okay.
that needs to be done from November to catch us up. And
And
then
we'll
it's
be good.
also as far as gives us the ability, they can
do the necessary training and orientation on our new voting system.
Which will have new voting machines next election.
Correct. We hopefully will get those maybe in, hopefully depending on supply chains, hopefully in May or June.
And that's a fully funded by a grant from the state too.
Well, it
Yes.
wasn't fully funded, was it?
No, it is now.
It is now. Thanks
is
to our
now?
association and the state
Thank
legislators,
God.
we'll probably get it $750,000.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Who did you have to put a gun to their head? Terrific.
Any further discussion? Commissioner Foster?
So like our poll workers, I mean, we won't have any elections, so that code, that money's not gonna be spent unless it's transferred to another account from the poll
Correct.
workers. Okay.
Poll workers won't be in, there won't be any more expenditures there.
And what's rentals? What's,
Rentals is
What
something
comes out
where
of
we
that, I guess?
need, we've had to rent voting machines in the past, we've had to rent facilities. We have a couple that we have to use, we pay to use their facilities, so yes.
okay, thanks.
So Saber, to help to, I projected his full-time code this year at 99,000 to end the year, and the previous year it was 113. So we're spending less than that. He spent less than that code, and more in part-time.
Okay.
And we didn't have a part-time employee for about 5 months, so, or excuse me, a full-time employee for 5 months.
Commissioner Lindenberg?
Thank you. You just said something that made me ask a question. What was it? I completely forgot. Never mind. I'll think
If
of
you
it.
think of it, you can ask
And
me
I will
later.
call, I'll call you and ask
Call me
you.
and ask, okay?
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Okay, that's all the budget amendments we have except for the added one, which we'll take under new business. Next up is EMS revenue by Nathan Sweet.
Hello, Commissioners. First of all, I'm not asking for anything, so we can start with that. I just want to take the opportunity because we've had changes with commission. We've had new commissioners that are coming on, and we really haven't covered this topic in quite some time, so I wanted to take the opportunity to show you all just some information. To be honest with you, this is actually just very little amount of information that we would look at. But I wanted to give you all a snapshot, last 5 years, what we have seen in regards to our transports, what we have billed, what we have collected, a little bit of a breakdown as you see on the first page. These are broken down by fiscal years. So that is the fiscal year ending. So 2018, that would be July 1 of 2017 to June 30th, 2018. For the dates. But I did break it down by the insurance provider, what we see from them, the number of transports, what the overall percentage of our transports were, and then what we were paid by average from that insurance provider. The one that does say patient, that is the uninsured. So that is the number that we have, that we do respond, we do treat, we do transport, we do bill, but that is the percentage, and they are by far the lowest payers that you would see on that. By average, we collect about $40, just over $40 per uninsured person. So that really means there are some uninsured people that pay the whole amount, and there are a bunch that don't pay anything at all. So I really wanted just to give the opportunity to share some of that information for you all. Provide that the second page really shows the first column what our rates are, and then the next two columns is what Medicare's rates are and what Medicaid's rates are. As some of you may know or recall, when it comes to Medicare and Medicaid, there is a fee schedule. Regardless of how much you bill, that is what they pay. Well, honestly, if you billed them less, they would pay you less. But I really don't know anybody that does that. So I wanted to kind of give that comparison. Underneath that is just a description of what those identifiers are. We bill, Anderson County EMS, we bill when we transport most of the time. You see a treat no transport on there, which we don't do a whole lot of those, but we bill a flat rate based on the care that is provided to you. and a mileage, a transport mileage, not the total mileage, not the mileage we responded to you, then the transport. It's just the transport miles. That's what we bill. That's pretty much what most insurances rely on. Definitely Medicare, Medicaid, that's their definition. Medicare is the one that set the definition based on those different ones, BLS non-emergency, BLS emergency. They set the definition, and then they pay based on what the care was provided. Doesn't matter what the staffing was. If we staffed with 2 critical care medics and we went on a call and they did not really need 2 critical care medics, you bill and you get reimbursed on basic life support emergency for those. So honestly, it was really just to provide you all some information, give you all some specifics to our organization, revenue. So there are a lot of things that we do not get to be reimbursed for or even bill for. So this is really how EMS generates most of the revenue that we collect. So just really information to give you all, and that was it.
Any questions for Director Sweet? Commissioner Smallwood?
Yeah, Nathan, what, in your mind, what does this data tell us? Is it point out any trends or things we need to be concerned about for the future? Or?
Unfortunately, uninsured has increased. So we're seeing an increase each year. We're up to last fiscal year, 11% of our call volume is uninsured, the lowest payers that you have. Insurance is the best payer, private insurance. But if you honestly look at that, even what they have been paying has decreased. So what does that mean? It means people that have private insurance, who traditionally have paid the best, we transport those people, we bill insurance, insurance pays us a lower portion, then passes on the rest of that bill, a larger amount, to the patient. And sometimes they pay and sometimes they don't. So that, of itself, unfortunately, insurance-wise, has been somewhat steady. Medicare, Medicaid has gone up. The 2 highest increases for Medicare are the last 2 years, so that's positive. They do operate on a calendar year, so their rates go up halfway through our fiscal year. So that's a lot of fun to figure out on the whole revenue budgeting side. I know what half of the year is going to look like, potentially. I don't know what the other half is going to look like. Historically speaking, it wasn't much, but the last 2 years have been the best increases for Medicare, which does, now we passed legislation in Tennessee 2 years ago for Medicaid to be 67.5% of Medicare fee schedule. So that has been beneficial on that side. So honestly, we could spend a lot of time talking about what I see on this, but I promised Shane, I think, 3 minutes.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Any further questions for Director Sweet? Hearing none, thank you. Commissioner Foster, go ahead, sir.
Well, I just ask, like you said, the insurance, the people that don't, they don't pay, their insurance pays, but then they get billed the difference. That stuff gets turned over to collections?
Yes, sir.
And then, but Medicare, Medicaid, those don't get, or that?
No, that's illegal.
Right. So, even, sorry, not the Medicare, but the non-insured people that we pick up that we bill
Yes.
them, that gets turned over to collections?
It does get sent over to collections. Honestly, you get to that point, you still don't collect a lot. We send them to collections. We've got people that we've, multiple years, as long as we can put them in collections. We do not currently go any farther than collections.
Okay.
If they could go through collections and still really don't have to pay. We don't go after them after that.
Any further questions?
That's good.
Thank you, Director.
Yes, sir.
Commissioners, if you'll indulge just for a second, Dr. Parrott has arrived. We had a question that he came to answer. We appreciate him doing that.
I do apologize for being late.
That's all right.
I'm kind of a little under the weather, so.
I don't apologize for that. The question we had was the $57,000 reimbursement on the insurance for the work at Lake City Elementary.
Yes, that's the first installment.
Okay.
There'll be more. And then there's another one down there. I don't know if you got that one. There's 13,000. Is that one goes through? There was a check went through Head Start, so that's another one. But then we will pay the the way the cleanup crew does, is our insurance pays them directly. So this is one thing that we will be using to redo the office area and things like that. But I think the bill for the cleanup was like $89,000 or something like that.
But that was part of the original 250,000 that we.
That, yes,
Okay.
yes, yes,
All right.
The land that we found in Norwood.
yes, yes.
What's I know the mayor spoke that y'all have had issues with that property before and been trying to get it for a while.
Yes, yes, that one, I bought more land this year than the school system's ever bought since they've been here, but that one kind of just fell into our lap. We've probably over the years had 50 calls for cops at that residence. The last one was a man stabbing himself in the chest out in the backyard, and they finally condemned it, and they were going to try to sell it and have somebody else move in there, and they called us, and it's appraised at, I think the appraisal was 65,000, and we got it for 50,000, so I think that's a good thing. And we can block that off and put a gate back there, so it will make our campus a whole lot more safe.
And I noticed on the contract service was for subs. Is
Yes.
that just because of sickness or
It is just.
teacher shortage or?
It's just
all the
teacher
above?
shortage. We have a lot of them having babies and things like that, and yes. And as you know, we're gonna be closed for the next 2 days due to that. We had about 32 classes today that didn't have subs. When you try to put 32 classes together or try to have an assistant do it, it's just not worth it. So we made the decision to go ahead and close on Friday and Monday. And I apologize for being late. I was over
That's all
doing
right.
something else and I just lost track of time.
That's all right. Any further questions for Dr. Perry? Thank you, Doctor. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Robbie, new business.
One thing under new business, I passed out a budget amendment for a new grant for the domestic violence court, $22,500. It's for a position, that $10,000 obviously will get us through the rest of this year, and then next year we'll put it in the budget as well, but just looking for approval of this amendment for this grant.
Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Beauchamp to approve item number 28. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Denenberg. Any discussion? Hearing none? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried. Anything else in the new business, Robbie?
Can we also approve the application, the grant pre-application on the second page of the budget amendment? That hasn't been done as well.
Need a motion to approve 28B.
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Beauchamp to approve 28B, second by Commissioner Denenberg. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
We might have got the cart before the horse on this one, but that happens sometimes in grants.
Anything else under new business?
Chairman,
Commissioner
I
Vandergrift.
just had a quick question about the Tennessee opioid abatement. Have you received any information on the accounting side of that?
Not a whole lot of information. We do have quite a bit of money, though, we've received from that, over $350,000 so far. But now the mayor has been dealing with a lot of that when her, and she Mike could speak to that more than me, Mayor.
It's harder and harder to get up. So we don't have final guidance. There's a couple of pots of money. So one particular pot is front-loaded. So like for 9 years, we got a large allocation. I think that one was $154,000 or something like that, Robbie. Most of them are going to be paid over 18 years.
Okay.
And there are several. So there are some that are directly allocated to Anderson County government for our use. and those are part of the national settlement. So Johnson & Johnson is one where they're bundling and giving us 9 years of funds in 1 year. And so we'll get that big amount, and then that kind of goes away for a while. There are...
Is that part of the 35 million, or is it?
I don't know, I cannot
Okay.
recall there's a second one that's getting ready they're going to send the county a letter, and then we will, so I already had to send in like our federal ID number, you know, yes, it's us, it's Anderson County, this is our mailing address. When they send that one, it will come with pages of guidance on what we can spend it on. So the first amount is intended to be these smaller amounts that are going to be paid out over 18 years. They are intended to be more of damages for things that we've really already paid for in terms of the impact of opioid abuse in our community. But there's still some guidance there, and I was just sharing with Robbie, as soon as I have all that, he and I talked before this meeting, you know, when would that be appropriate to put on the budget committee? Probably when we have that guidance in our hand, because there's no sense you all getting excited about anything and then we turn around and say that's not an allowable expense. So we still don't have a true idea of, you know, they continue to do new suits, and so, you know, we think, okay, this is going to be it, and then they add another firm. So it's not tons of money, but that 9 years being front-loaded is great. But then if you have some small programming or small projects and you can count on that for 18 years, that's going to pay for something, then it's kind of complicated. And I'm sorry, Chairman Val, I know you want to hurry up. There's also a
Sorry.
pot of money. Yeah, it's Commissioner Vandergrift's fault.
Yes.
There's another pot of money that's held specifically for the counties, and that might be that number that you've heard about most recently. But that is being retained by the state for us. And so what they want to do there is we will be submitting applications. And we'll have access to that. We could do something regional with other counties or municipalities, or we may have projects that we just want to go at alone, but that's being held aside for counties specifically.
Let me correct myself. So I said 350, it's 230,000 we received.
I was going to say, maybe you got a check
No,
I
we
didn't know
didn't.
about.
My mind, I just did that off my head. It wasn't right, but I looked at the paper.
Thank you,
It's
Mayor.
233,000.
Anything else under new business? Old business? Anything under old business? Hearing none, any other business come before the committee?
Next month, we'll start budget. I'll have all the budgets for you for general fund, all except schools. I do want to say, Commissioner Mays contacted me about maybe doing a workshop for the sheriff and EMS, because sometimes those are two of our more difficult budgets to work through, because, I mean, they are a lot of money. That's something I'd be interested in if you all are interested in that, maybe with full commission even, and getting them involved with a workshop, offering it to everybody. But that was suggested to me, and I just wanted to bring that up as well, that if we wanted to do something like that, March or April would be a good month to get something like that scheduled.
So everybody be thinking about that. Any further business? Hearing none, we are adjourned.
I want to know.